How you doing? How you feeling?
Life is okay. We're in a pandemic, but life is okay, man. Life is a blessing, so I'm glad to have it. How about you?
I'm hanging in there. I can't complain. Can't complain at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's taking it day by day. I'm taking it day by day, and good days, bad days, some ugly days,
Yeah.
but we're still here, so I can't complain too much either. So
No. No. So okay, so let's get into it.
yeah,
Okay, so the name of your podcast is
the Semi-Social Life of a Black Introvert podcast.
okay.
It's a long title. It's a long title.
Yeah.
But I started this last year. I really needed something to sort of do creatively.
Uh-huh.
And I think what happened, Kim, is that in my 20s, I lost all my creativity. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, I know I did. I know I was angry at the world in my 20s, like after graduating from college and not having the employment success that I wanted to, not having the family success that I wanted to. I was burnt out on my life in my 20s. And so my creativity that I had, mind you, I spent time as a songwriter, as a women's personal stylist, as a businessman in my 20s, and I lost all of that creativity. And so
Wow.
last year, I started this podcast really as a move of faith, to try something new, and to regain my voice. And
Mm-hmm.
so June of last year, I started. For the first 9 episodes, I told myself that I was going to quit. Every episode is like, I'm going to quit. I'm fearful, and yet I kept going. And so here we are 1 year later, being heard in 24 different countries around the world,
Wow.
45 out of the 50 states. It's been a move of faith, and I hope people are getting something out of it. Obviously they are, but it's also just been a teaching moment for me. And so, yeah, here I am 1 year later, living the dream.
Nice, nice. Okay, so give me a little bit of background because you said, excuse me, you were a writer,
Yeah.
stylist. So now, where did that come from? Like, first of all, what school did you go to?
I went to Central State University, which is an HBCU in Ohio.
Okay.
So,
Is that where you're from?
yeah, I'm from Ohio. Yeah.
Okay.
And so a lot of my creativity, I'm a person of the arts, whether it be, I'm a writer by nature. I'm an introverted person, so a lot of my feelings I put down on paper more so than have to sit down and explain them to people, which is always a new thing to me. But I'm a writer, motivational speaker, minister. I'm an educator currently, even though I'm furloughed. I run an after-school program in a very successful library system in which we see kids from over 30 different nations each day,
Wow.
and 100 kids a day. And so my heart really is to give back to people, and that sort of ties right back into this podcast. Like, how can my experiences as a man, as a Black man, how can someone learn from my experiences and what I went through? Because I went through a whole lot of hell in order to get some heaven, Kim. I did. I went through a whole lot of hell, and so I use my podcast as a teaching moment, as a platform to teach and inform and just encourage and inspire.
Well, you can't have a testimony without being tested. So
Listen. There's some tests that I failed too, and so I had to retake a couple of those tests.
that's
And
okay.
yeah, and so I teach my students like, yo, I failed some tests in my lifetime. And so I'm giving you this information as a 36-year-old Black man. I'm sort of giving you a prep. That way you don't have to go through what I went through. You can learn from my test and not have to go through so much. And so my life in that regard is a blessing, and it's a teaching tool. And as a man, I really do want my life to be a lesson for young men, young women, and people around me. I don't want to just hoard on to the lessons that I've learned. I see that far too many times in my community and just with
Yeah.
and people in the society. We hoard on to our own lessons, and as opposed to exposing them and using them as tools and moments to teach. And so,
Wow.
yeah, that's what I'm here for.
So now, okay, so when you say you were a songwriter, or you still a songwriter?
You know what? It comes and goes. I still am. I can still write a song. You know, I was telling someone the other day that when it comes to music and especially hip hop music, that's my heart. I remember my life is sort of built around soundtracks to albums. I mean, I know where I was when Nas's album came out. I remember that feeling of looking at the production notes, and so my life has always been around hip hop. And as a writer, I can still write 16 bars easily. And so I'm getting back into that. It's a weird thing being in my 30s and giving myself the creative license to go back and tap back into that vein of writing music for myself. And so and
You
I'm
might not be able to help it.
you know, I thought I lost it though. You know, I thought I lost. I thought that I lost that in my 20s when I lost all my creativity. And it's weird how that sort of circles back where even throughout the day at work, I'll start writing some rhymes. It's like, I can't, this isn't the way it's supposed to be, but it's in my heart. It's in who I am. It's in my DNA. And so I'm tapping back into that vein and sort of seeing where it's going to go. Even if it's just for me. Maybe I'll do an album about my experiences in my 30s, even if it's just for me. Maybe I'll share it with the people. Maybe, I don't know what's going to come of it, but I'm definitely going to see what's in that road because hip hop has been so important to me. But I also know that it's hard. Hip hop music does not age well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it ages better for women in some regard because when I look at some of my hip hop icons, their music hasn't aged with me. And so that's where I have to create my own music and write my own music, or perhaps write an experience in my 30s that echoes what it's like for a Black man in their 30s, as opposed to this lifestyle of partying and just this lifestyle of richness, and that just isn't experienced on this type of level. So I'm gonna see where it goes.
So now, what were some of your musical influences? I know you mentioned Nas.
Nas, huge fan of Nas. Talib Kweli, Mos Def. I was in the Backpack era. And so even early Kanye, I remember when Kanye dropped and just changed the sound of hip hop. Jay-Z, even currently, one of my favorite rappers out of Brooklyn is Sky Zoo, who is incredible. Trek Manifest, a rapper out of Columbus, Ohio, he just dropped a new album that's incredible too. I pull from everywhere. Lauryn Hill, I mean,
wow.
Goodness gracious, Raw Digger, Rhapsody. I mean, I could name so many MCs that have just poured into my life, and that's what hip hop music is about for me. And it's looking at my teens, looking at my 20s, looking at my 30s, and remembering the moments in which I was listening to that song at this moment, and this is what happened in my life. It's very nostalgic, and just brings back all those good memories.
And how it made you feel, right?
How it made me feel. I can listen to an album. There's one album in particular, Blue in Exile, Below the Heavens, and that to me is an album of my 20s. I remember walking to class in college, listening to that album, and just feeling what was going on in the song that mirrored my life. And I think that's what hip hop music should be. That's what music should be. It should take you back. It should it should move you forward. It should take you around. The music itself should not be stagnant. And so, I love those moments when albums can take me somewhere. And that's what I want to create. I want to create an album that takes someone somewhere. If it's on my journey, that's cool. If it's on their journey, that's even better. So, yeah.
That's definitely what hip hop is missing right about now.
It's there, but it's missing. It's missing the heart. It doesn't age as well as what it should. And I wish that our hip hop icons could age gracefully and age as men and as women, and sort of use their platform and their podium as a tool and vehicle to sort of bring some realism to life. You know, it's a beautiful thing that hip hop can be used as an escapism, but you still have to deal with your reality. And we paint this facade that we are one type of way, or this is the lifestyle that you really need to gravitate toward, but what about the heart of a man? What about the heart of a woman? That's why Lauryn Hill's album always connects with me. That's why I search for albums that appeal emotionally to my heart, that speak to me as a man, as a Black man, and can edify my soul and take me somewhere. And so hip hop needs that. They need some people that can take them somewhere. I think J. Cole does it well.
I'm about to say J.
Yeah.
Cole, Kendrick.
Yeah. There's some artists out there that do it well, but you have to have your ears trained to what they're saying. And as a hip hop lover in their 30s, I'm someone with my students. I try to teach them, since lyrics are a part of my heart. I try to teach them: are you listening to what they're saying? Not just the beat. The beat is beautiful, but are you listening to the soul of a man or to the soul of a woman? Are you listening to their story? Are you taking time out to listen to what they're saying as opposed to just riding the beat? Because there's one thing: the beat will take you on a journey, but their words will take you farther. And so, that's music for me. Can you ride that beat? That's cool, but anyone can do that. But can you listen to the story? Can you listen to the heart? Can you tap into that psyche of who the person is?
Yeah. A lot of music nowadays, people aren't able to connect to unless it's got a tight beat or a dope beat. And other than that, I don't want to say it's mumble. I don't want to say it's any of that, because, music evolves, hip hop evolves. But then when do we get back to that essence of hip hop? I mean, will we ever get back to that essence of hip hop?
I don't know. I hope so. I think what concerns me nowadays when it comes to hip hop is that I don't see the elders taking responsibility, taking the role of being an elder. When I look and see Pop Smoke, in his life being ended in Juice World, and when I see, I'm like, where are the elders? Where are the men? Where are the women that are there to set boundaries? It's beautiful that hip hop is giving you a vehicle to get out of your situation financially or out of your environment. But you need some people that are around, some teachers and some elders that can teach these kids in their 19s, 20s, 21s, 22, how to make it through their 20s. That way they're still alive in their 30s. And so we need some teachers. And I don't see it much. I see it in some cases, but I don't see a lot of it when it comes to hip hop music, when the elders that are teaching, not just about, money, clothes, and hoes and all that, but like, are you teaching life? Are you giving these young men, these young women tools that will help them live a long-lasting life? And that concerns me. I mean, that really does concern me when I read about these articles, when I read about these artists that are being murdered at 20.
You know what's crazy? You saying that, it triggers in my head. The word that comes to mind is support. And
Yeah.
I think what you're saying is we're not supporting the ones coming up.
Yeah.
It's like the older people fell out the game. Now the newbies are coming in. We don't rock with their music, but yet and still we're not there to work with them, teach them from our mistakes. Because there's a lot of artists, look at Megan Thee Stallion, and there's others who have gotten screwed over in the industry and stuff like that. And I'm like, but so many other people older than you have, before you have, all you needed to know was, what was your experience? So that I cannot make that same mistake, and